Alright, hello everyone. It is Umber Rays here telling you that I've looked at some stuff and I have not looked at some stuff. So, yeah, JP and Global got a fairly big update today. Not everything that is coming in the near future, but a good enough update that, yeah, we're going to be splitting this apart. And really quickly, yes, I've seen Ildira's update, I've seen Nib's update, and I have thoughts about it. I definitely have thoughts about them, but I am waiting off. I am just going to hold off a little bit until I see the Wotv calc numbers because otherwise I just don't feel like I'm going to do it super justice. I'm more impressed off the immediate impressions based on Niv than I am of Ildira. But that's probably going to change once we see the numbers. So I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm actually going to talk about Lara Croft today, who came out on the global side and taking just a look at her guns, her vision card, and sorry, it's not Lara Croft, it's Lara Croft, right? But it wouldn't be a video of mine without mispronouncing a name, I guess. So anyway, let's talk really quickly about Lara Croft and her set of stuff, and whether or not I think from a JB player, whether or not I would pull for this character or not. And Lara Croft definitely does have a very clear vision. She is a gunner, she is a ranged unit, and she excels at certain things. Like her master abilities, getting that missile resistance penetration, getting a higher evasion rate. Lara's backpack gives her a range increase as well as critical damage. And you look at her kit and, her stats versus other gunners, it's comparable. She does seem like she would be a pretty strong character. She's good against other gunners. She's good against swords. She's not so good against spears, which if I gave it any thought, there's probably some meaning behind that, but we're not here for that. She's not good against fists. No. Anyway, and magic she is a little bit strong against. So she has some resistances, and looking at her skills, I can see what they wanted to do with her. Essentially, critical rate and evasion rate, and defense penetration, getting around missile resistance. Her counter is nothing special, and taking a look at her main job, Tomb Raider, in the sub part, it's got poison, it's got decreased bravery, which is potentially an interesting idea. But the rest of her kit, restore her own AP, evasion rate, blind, restore AP. I think she has enough stuff here to be a good consideration for a ranged character. I think there's enough here for her to be kind of the best range character that we have so far in the water element. Do I think she is the best character of all time? No, there's counters to her. She already has, lightning spears, for example, like 9S would just probably floor her if I was to guess. But one of the things that I'm the most discontent with, I guess, to say, and that's not my overall thoughts, but just discontent in her main job, is that it's single target only. There really isn't anything that is AoE, at least not in her main kit. You look at Gunner is again mostly single target, or if not all single target there. And her Ranger is really the only place that she gets some AoE, and it's good. It's good AoE. Barrage is good. All of her stuff is just missile attacks. And that is really powerful, and it does give her some advantage over height. It does give her generally well-rounded, but I think that this character is essentially going to be PvP. Maybe against single bosses, she could be a really interesting character, providing that the boss isn't incredibly accurate. But taking a look at the vision card is essentially made for her. It works for everything that you want to get, giving her specifically critical rate and evasion up. And then you look at her weapon, and her weapon, Laura's dual pistols. And 180 attack on the assault for a gun is really good. It's really, really good. Yeah, she loses a little agility from them, but that's really, really not that bad at all. If we just switch over here, because I do want to talk about, the very obvious thing. Like, taking a look at this. This is the, most basic gun. This just getting shooting attack up, where Lara's gun gives her critical rate as well as critical damage. That's a very synergistic weapon with itself and with Lara Croft and with gunners too. Gunners, sometimes they like to do critical damage. I know that a lot of people are thinking about Prompto's weapon, and yes, Prompto's weapon is very good for having defense penetration, but Lara kind of gets around that already. She has a little bit of that in there, and you can always run the gun if need be, but I kind of like this critical damage, this just getting critical hits and dealing more of that like sniper almost. I think that overall I'm impressed with Lara Croft. Like the developers made a good weapon for her, a good vision card for her, and I think that overall her character has a focused direction and everything on that. Like everything like that. Now, would I pull for her as a JP player? No. For a couple of reasons. One, best season right now is, we have a missile unit coming this next week, where, we're going to see the September 1st festival unit. It's going to be the Warrior of Fire, who's already a bow user, and bow users have that advantage of just having their basic attack, really accessible against a ton of enemies. And I just have a higher expectation of a 100 cost best unit than I do of this unit recently. So Lara Croft, I think, is going to be a very good unit for globalers who are looking for PvP stuff or specific high difficulty content where you're not fighting hordes of enemies. But I feel like on the JP side, she would be solid, but not as incredible as some of the other stuff we're seeing. Kind of want to test her, but just initial impressions. Now, with that being said and done, I do want to talk about the Final Fantasy IV event because, I am a JP player, and I do, well, people who have watched my videos for a while know that I'm pretty critical on this game. I do want what's best for the players. I do want, things to get better for the players. So when I say that, usually bad stuff, people are like, why do you hate the game? Why do you continue to play the game if you hate the game? I don't hate it, but I do want things to be better. And there are periods definitely where I can hate this game because, sometimes it's just not pleasant. But with the FF4 event, they have been doing a lot of things right. And I need that time to acknowledge that right now. Not only the Golbez board, which is pretty darn, it's pretty darn solid, but getting a brand new collaboration board. I feel like some of the collaboration events recently, previous to this, just don't have these anymore. And especially not repeat events. FF1 was so bland. It was so bland. It didn't introduce new characters. It didn't introduce really anything other than a brand new weapon. And FF4 is given a lot of good chances to not only get the new character on his banner, but also the older characters on a slew of banners. Not to mention gold banners returning for old characters as well, which is a big boost to trying to finish off. If you have Cecil, Kane, and Rosa, and they were already finished, then you're getting a lot of EX orbs per day just by spending some gold. And, gold farming is kind of a standard for players to do at this point in the game. So that isn't really, unexpected or anything like that. But, it's not like there had to be a new vision card or anything. But today, again, I'm just going to give a shout out if the emulator will load. Not giving a shout out to the emulator this time. But a brand new, we got a weapon farm, and that was pretty standard for FF1, but we're getting a box event And it's a new box event. It's not the old box event. And that is a big distinction between, past and present kind of thing. Because sometimes they just repeat the old event, and for players who had already finished it, there's really not that much extra. And these events are kind of grindy. So, yeah, I have to say that while there is a fair amount of repeated stuff, it is nice to see brand new boxes. It is nice to see them being essentially refilled for players who have been playing the game. And it's nice to see a brand new, awesome weapon. It really, before this event, I think I gave my impressions that, like, Rosa was fine, but she went into the white mage category, and Kayn was still a DPS doing DPS things. But Cecil has gotten the biggest improvement, and added to that today, we now got kind of the final piece of a puzzle that I've been wondering about for a while, which is how do you make Cecil really good? And here it is. This is the new weapon for Cecil, and this isn't the assault version. I think the assault version has a 170 attack or something like that, so that's the one you want, obviously. I think the full data's not up yet, but this weapon does have slash attack up and an AP reduction. This sword is incredible. Now, it doesn't just complete Cecil to an extent by reducing some of his higher AP costs, but it also works for a lot of other characters too that use swords. Like this is a weapon that's really exciting because it, takes older characters that maybe are feeling a little bit less than exciting and just gives them kind of a little bit of a new lease. But hey, you could throw this on any sword user. You could throw it on Dwayne, you could throw it on Noctis, you can reduce the need of bells. This is an exciting FF4 event. And FF4, I say that as being a person who Final Fantasy IV is just not my favorite. I like the music, I like the characters, I like the setting and the game itself, but it's not one of my favorites. It's never going to be one of my favorites, and that's just personal preference. So when FF7, it's just easier to be more excited and happy that we're getting that kind of stuff. FF4 is one of those ones that I'm usually a little bit more like, I'm happy for other people that they get this and the characters they like and all of that. But this return of Final Fantasy IV has been exciting for many reasons. Easier access to EX orbs for older characters, chances to get older characters, and I haven't even mentioned the summon tickets or the free pulls. 100 free pulls where one of the slots is always shards for one of the old FF4 characters or the vision card, and that's great. Even Demon Wall has a pretty easy chance to get again, even some tickets for it. So that's also really, really nice. But then the new, not just repeating an old box event, but actually giving a new one, which is, I'm not the biggest fan of box events. But if you're going to have this kind of repeat, then give us a brand new one. Give us something for people who have been here for a while, and give older players a chance to get the old weapons as well. So yeah, I just wanted to really, talk about the fact that the FF4 event has felt more refreshing than a lot of stuff lately. Because, you get into that cycle of, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and fests were happening, and it felt a little expensive and everything like that. With the pity system being removed for the regular banner, there is still the shards but I'm getting off topic. That's a different thing. But FF4 has felt really nice and pretty darn generous, and I'm happy. I hope that this happens again for other ones that, other collaborations that come back. Tactics, FF7, FF15 in the future, FF14. Yes, I know about Endwalker. I'm excited about Endwalker. I'll be playing Sage day one. But yeah, shout outs to, Gumi on this one. You guys gave a really nice return for an FF4 event while keeping other content moving, such as story, side stories, the side stories, I mean the Warrior of the Crystals stuff and all of that. So good to see. Now bring back Final Fantasy Tactics. So yeah, next video, I'm going to be talking about some of the stuff that we haven't talked about recently, specifically our brand new selection quest character for water, as well as we're going to talk about Lucio's upgrade. And in a separate video, we will be talking about the Deer's EX, and last but not least, Niv, and I believe there's one other character. I think it's Uni who got hers. Again, once the date is up, I will make full videos about all of those things and talk about them. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know if you were happy with Lara Croft or disappointed for different reasons. Maybe I'm, just looking on the outside from the JP side in on the global side and saying, this looks pretty good. And I think that the weapon is definitely a good get for an MR weapon. Anyway. So let me know what you think about that, and let me know what you think about this FF4 stuff. This is good, I think. So anyway, positive note on everything this video, I think. Minus the fact that I would actually pull for Lara Croft. I would not do that. I would actually not. Save them for those, I guess, best characters. Anyway, see you next time. Take care.